modern secular culture lacked any sacramental meaning, that modern secular culture had no transcendental purpose or sense of providence. Vahanian, in 1961, concluded that for the modern mind, God is dead. See, Vahanian's vision was a transformed post-Christian, postmodern culture that was needed to create a renewed experience of deity. And just a couple of years later, Time magazine had on its cover, "Is God Dead?" But the Death of God book by Gabriel Vahanian was written in 1961. Also, in 1961, a gentleman by the name of Barack Hussein Obama was born. And it seems to be that it took only 51 years for Barack Hussein Obama to implement in the Democratic Party Gabriel Vahanian's concept that God is dead. I cannot believe, I absolutely cannot believe what the Democratic Party is doing in the United States, in Charlotte, the buckle, the absolute buckle of the Bible Belt. I think the people in Charlotte should be marching in the streets where they have a convention where the President of the United States has simply declared that God is dead by policy. There's no two ways around this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trento Vision. And today we have a very unique show for you. Our goal, our desire is to present some information, some factual thoughts, some of the confusion that's going on right now in the United States over what the heck the Democrats are doing. I mean, they have taken God out of their platform. And is this some just benign movement of a pen and really has no meaning? Or is this a public policy shift that goes back to the death of God movement, a postmodern culture? And I'll tell you what, folks, as a theologian, when you pull God out, you leave a void. And guess what will fill it for the Democratic Party? Government. So today's show is on President Obama evicting God. And CJ, once you evict God from something, it's very simple to evict the next thing, like Jerusalem.
Of course.
President Obama evicted God and Jerusalem from the formal public policy platform of the Democratic Party. Oh my God. Oh, can I say that?
Well, so far you could say that, but if we have 4 more years of what we have now, I think God will be the 8th word that you can't say on the radio anymore.
Well, if the OIC and the United Nations had any say, I'm sure that would be the case. But here's what we're going to do today, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching and listening to Trento Vision. Now, a little housekeeping here. If you're driving around South Florida, you can go on your car radio on the AM dial, 1470 AM, WNN. You can listen. If you have iHeartRadio, you can download that app, go to WNN in South Florida, and you can listen on your iPhone. Or you can go to TrentoVision.tv and watch. We made this so that you can watch this beautiful show in progress. So the reason why we're really producing a television show and a radio station is because we have a series of investigative reports and clips to show you on a regular basis. But I'd like to welcome my show producer on content who will occasionally sit in that seat, and CJ is here right now. If we can put CJ up for everybody to see, you can say hello to that camera right there, CJ.
Hi.
You can say a little more than hi.
Hello, everybody.
Good to be here, right?
Welcome to the show.
Yes.
We've got a lot of things to cover today. A lot of big news coming out of Charlotte. It's a big, big change for the party of the Democrats. It's a big, big change for the country, and it has dire complications for the rest of the world.
And in the blogs, wherever you're reading or looking, in Israel. It is the hottest news in Israel. It's going all over the world. And I think, CJ and everyone watching out there, we have a series of clips today that are very comical. But they're comical in their absurdity and their sadness as a cultural statement as to what the impact of pulling God and Jerusalem out of the West, out of the United States platform of who we are and why we are what we are. And this clip right here, you're going to see a CNN clip where Wolf Blitzer sort of sets the overarching theme for our show today. Thank you very much, Wolf. We actually met Wolf the other day at the RNC. He was rambling around on a street corner trying to find his limo ride, and he eventually found it. Now he found his way to Charlotte, and watch him and the other commentators stumble through this bizarre move by the Democratic Party. Let's see CNN and Wolf Blitzer.
God out of the platform. Why do that?
Well, I could just basically tell you, if the narrative that is being presented on your station and through your channel and your network is that the Democrats are godless people, they ought to know better. God is not a franchise of the Republican Party.
No.
Those of us who believe in God and those of us who have dedicated our lives to helping others in the name of God don't want to take a second seat to anyone who is suggesting that one word out of the platform means that the Democrats across America are godless.
No.
No.
I don't think that that's what's being said. We're reporting what's in the platform. In 2008, God was mentioned once. In 2004, it was mentioned 7 times. In 2000, God was mentioned 4 times.
So
it's
what's
just
your
a question. The question is why take it out in this time?
What I'm basically saying to you is if you're trying to draw some conclusion that the Democrats are godless, present your evidence. Present your evidence.
I'm just asking the question, why was the word taken out?
I'm just telling you, you are carping on a trifle. We know that both parties are devoted to this country. Both parties are God-fearing parties. Let's get on with the agenda about creating jobs in America,
Understood.
about justice in this country.
And we're going to talk about that in a second. We're talking about the platform here. And there are 2 changes that we just noted. 1, that God was taken out from 2008 to 2012. And 2, that Jerusalem is not mentioned. So I'm not drawing conclusions. I'm just asking you why those changes were made.
Brett, let me suggest something. I chaired the platform committee for 2 Democratic conventions. We produced the most unread document in the history of American politics. To suggest that this document and the insertion of 2 words here and 1 word there it now defines politics in America suggests to me that you're not focusing on the real issues that Americans care about.
But Senator,
we want this American people to get back to work.
I understand
we want to continue to create jobs.
And let's talk about that in 1 second. But you know Democrats in Tampa talked about the Republican platform and what was and what is not in there. So when I'm asking you about these 2 changes, these 2 words, I'm just asking why. I'm not drawing conclusions.
I'm telling you your conclusions are wrong if you're drawing them.
I'm not.
And secondly, let me tell you, the first president to recognize the state of Israel was Harry Truman, a Democrat. And every president since, Democrat and Republican, has stood closely with Israel. I know what's going on here.
Okay.
It's an effort to try to justify Sheldon Adelson and the money that he's spending in the name of really standing up for Israel.
Listen.
The Democrats and Republicans are committed to Israel's future and security, and I'm one of them.
Understand. No Republican took those words out of the Democratic platform. So I'm just making the point.
And you're those 2 words coming out mean our relationship with Israel has changed?
No, I'm just asking the question about
fair?
why it was changed.
Is that fair? Is that balanced?
Why was it changed?
I wasn't on the platform committee.
I'm going to move on.
I hope you will.
Okay.
Yikes.
Give me a break, Dick Durbin. You have got to be kidding me. We're going to show you, as soon as we cue up Wolf Blitzer and the CNN fiasco also, what you just saw, ladies and gentlemen, is a classic example of a party going off the rails. I mean, you have a senator, a highly respected senator, who, and Brett Baer from Fox News is simply asking him, why did you take in 2008, and we're going to get into the details, how many times, CJ, was God in the Democratic platform in 2004? Do you have that number?
7 times.
Okay, so the Democrats in 2004 gave a nod to God 7 times.
Yes.
What about 2008?
Once.
How many?
Once.
Oh, God, that was God light. They went from 2004 to 2008, from God to God light, And how many times is God mentioned in the platform in 2012?
0. And actually, if you want, I can read to you really quickly to tell you what it said in 2008. Just as a comparison.
Yeah.
Okay. The quote for God from 2008 is, "We need a government that stands up for the hopes, values, and interests of working people and gives everyone willing to work hard the chance to make the most of their God-given potential."
That was in the Democratic platform?
That was in the Democratic platform in 2008.
Okay. That was nice. I mean, that's very nice. Thank you.
In 2012, we gather to reclaim the basic bargain that built the largest middle class and the most prosperous nation on earth, the simple principle that in America hard work should pay off. Of course, it doesn't. Responsibility should be rewarded, and each one of us should be able to go as far as our talent and drive take us. So, what does that mean?
Obama, sure,
what does that mean?
Well, that's what we're going to...
They took God out, and they put Obama in 100 times.
They did what?
Over 100 times.
So,
God is out of the platform.
But the name President
Obama is over 100 times.
Okay. We're going to beat this horse to death, removing God, because it's more than just syntax. It's more than just a little editing here and there. It's a philosophical transformation of a party that chooses to view government in the role of God as opposed to God. I have a constitution in my bag right here.
Yes.
I think, and a declaration. I think if we look in the declaration, the framers saw that God and natural law and providence were real live things in the necessity of building the country that was built. All right, are we ready for CNN with Wolf Blitzer? Yeah. All right, I want to go to this piece now. We just saw Dick Durbin. And when he went home, his wife probably said, "What are you, nuts? How are you defending that nonsense, Dick?"
I bet his email box is full.
His email box got zapped. He went to the closest bar in Charlotte and down some Jack or something, going, "Oh my God, how am I going to fix this mess?"
Oh, did he say, "Oh my God"?
He better not have. He better not have. Well, we're going to look at Wolf Blitzer, and this is going to provide an overarching feel for the CNN, which affectionately used to be known as the Clinton News Network. And tonight, President Clinton, I want to get a microphone in front of President Clinton and say, "Hey, there's no God in your thing." "Oh, we really love God and all of that." And why is it in your platform? Why don't you take a stand on something like this and have those words in there? Why are they out? Somebody messed up.
Okay, well, a question also. If you take God out of the platform, does that make the platform godless?
Whoa, we're getting philosophical here. We're going to answer that right after we look at Wolf Blitzer, CNN, and
watch the angst in their faces.
Yeah, you got to.
The reporters are.
No, the reporters.
Look,
the mainstream media are center-left leftists. They're all Ivy League school elites. They all love Obama. We know that. That's factual.
But they're actually asking hard-hitting questions, and they're trying to get some accountability out of the leadership of the Democrat Party, and they're not getting it, but they're still going for it. They're being reporters for the first time in 4 years.
Well, yeah, they are. But look at the angst in their face when they realize, "Oh my God, we're in trouble." On day one, let's go. Let's take a look.
I want to go right to the convention floor, and I'm down here on the convention floor right now. Dana Bash is standing by. Dana, we've been talking earlier about a lot of buzz out there that the Democratic Party platform rejected the language that was in the platform 8 years ago, recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, also deleting a reference to Israel as being America's staunchest ally in the Middle East. I understand the Democratic National Committee is now responding. What's going on?
That's right. Well, if you asked me just a few moments ago why they did it, well, I asked the DNC, and we answer, and their answer was that they are simply following Obama administration's policy is, and that the White House said several months ago that the status of Jerusalem is an issue that should be resolved in the final status negotiations between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and that is why that is not in the platform as it was in 2008. it still is a little bit perplexing, frankly, because that had been the policy up until 2008. At least it had not been the platform up until 2008, but they decided to change it 4 years ago. And there was no difference with regard to final status negotiations as it is right now. So it is a bit of a question mark, particularly given, frankly, as you know, Wolf, the political question marks that some American Jews have, especially in key swing states like Florida, about President Obama's commitment to the state of Israel. So this is probably going to raise a lot more questions in their minds. The other thing that this statement goes on to say is that they want to underscore that President Obama has undeniable and unshakable commitment, undeniable and unshakable commitment to Israel's security. That clearly is trying to explain or, help understand that they still have a commitment to security, even though they don't say in the platform that the U.S. is, that Israel is the most important ally in the Middle East.
Yeah, the 2012 platform does not include the language of the 2008 platform describing Israel as America's strongest ally in the region. Dana.
Our Obama, who art in Washington, hallowed be thy name.
Well, he did appear before us 8 years ago in front of
4 years ago.
4 years ago,
I was there in Denver.
The Emperor's columns.
I know.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting. 4 years ago,
that's where the tides of the oceans were going to change.
There was. Hey, I got it. I figured it out, folks. 4 years ago, it was the coming of the Messiah.
Right.
Now it's the transition from Messiah to actual deity, to God. And the party has removed the real God, and now who's there? This is the person that will lead us to the promised land. Michelle Obama said last night, real change takes longer time. Real change takes more time. And after another 4 years, they're going to say, you know what, we got to change that Constitution.
To make sure that we have perpetual change for the rest of our lives.
If we can have 12 years doing this stuff, riding around that airplane, man, that Air Force One is pretty... This is really a sad day in America when we need a two-party system. I am a conservative Republican, big surprise with that. But we need a two-party system because accumulated power in evil, fallen human beings, it will be abused. It's inevitable. So the other party is a tempering agent against it. But when one party becomes so secularized, and now I think there's going to be a lot of blowback, whoever changed this thing around, but the president signed off on it. Here's the thing. Here's where we're going with this, folks. It is a fact on September 4, 2012, the Democratic Party chose to remove God from its platform. All the spin doctors, you're going to see Chuck Schumer in a few minutes trying to spin his way out of another issue in Jerusalem. All the spin doctors are trying to make sense out of this, but this party is going off the cliff. If you're analytical, and if you're our Democratic friends out there or independent friends, if you're being analytical and looking at facts, these planks of a platform aren't mere secondary concerns. These are the fundamental philosophical foundation upon which the policies are built, public policies which affect every person's life. If you're a Democrat, do you believe that God has a role in your life? Well, your party doesn't anymore. They certainly don't have the institutional and constitutional fortitude to write it down. So, what are we doing? We got somebody. Let's take a call right now. Let's take the caller, and we'll make it real short. Yes, caller. There is a caller.
Hello.
Yes, caller. Who are you, and where are you from?
I am Bobby from Minnetonka, Minnesota, Tom.
Oh, I know, Bobby. How are you, my dear?
Good. How are you doing?
An old friend in Minnetonka. Talk Minnesota. Talk to us.
Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Good. That's pretty good.
How's this playing in Minnesota?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on...
First of all, I am so thankful for your program. I'm so thankful for what the United West is doing. I am so concerned about this election and what's going on. I've got a million questions, that nobody seems to be answering. I think why and under the sun aren't our new people in Congress up in arms about Obama becoming the dictator?
Yeah. All right, let me do this, Bobby. We're gonna let you go. We'll I want to spin off on that question. Yeah. I don't know. Hey, Mark, you're back there behind the camera. Why aren't the freshmen that came in 2010, the Tea Party people, CJ, those folks, why aren't they going nuts and saying that even the Democrats that are young bucks? Why? How come nobody's saying anything?
Well, the major problem is once you get to Washington, you change. We know that. We've seen that the staff takes over and they lose their ideals. That's the main problem.
That is very, very interesting. You can get elected as a freshman, and then once the Republican Party grabs you or the Democratic Party, they give you the staff, and you got to toe to a certain degree the line. But there are people like Alan West.
I was going to say,
go ahead.
you know, we know locally, you know, Alan West, he is more hot against this administration now than he was the whole time he was running. He is hitting it every day in Congress and on the campaign trail. So, you know, locally we could say our guy.
Yeah, he's our congressman. That's right.
He's our guy.
Right now,
he has not gone native. These other people who are in there, I don't know. They're worried about getting reelected.
What's that, Bobby?
Our gal is Michelle Bachmann, and she has certainly called a lot of the things correctly. I mean, we're concerned about her getting reelected just because they've changed the districts up here and really thrown her into a Democratic district, which is not hard to do in Minnesota, I might add.
We know that. Let me let you go, Bobby. And you're 100% right. Michelle Bachmann is an amazing woman, and as many of the people in the audience know, I'm one of the honored authors, co-authors of Sharia, The Threat to America, which you can get on the United West website. We deal a lot with the Muslim Brotherhood, and just a couple of months ago, and we'll do some shows on the Brotherhood and all of that as it relates to the White House. Because this show, Trento Vision, coming out to you on WNN 1470 out of Florida, 50,000-watt radio station, and a 23 trillion watt live stream, Ustream, all over the world, powerful visual stuff coming at you. We'll do stuff on the Muslim Brotherhood for sure. Michelle Bachmann took a brave stand and was beat up by some of the institutional politicians like John McCain. Oh, my God. But here's what we need to do next. What we've done so far, folks, is addressed this confusion, and sadly I'm using the wrong word, confusion. This is a premeditated decision to evict God by President Obama. There's no way, folks, do not let the spinmeisters persuade you or make you think that President Obama is immune or unaware of what took place in a lowling. This went by by President Jarrett, actually. President Valerie Jarrett, who is the co-president in function with President Obama, absolutely okayed, if not wrote, this information regarding the extrication or eviction of God from the Democratic Party. And what happened next? Get rid of God in the U.S. and get rid of
Jerusalem from Israel for the Israelis, for the Jews.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Let's talk about that really quick, okay? In 2008, the Democratic Party platform read, Jerusalem is and will remain the capital of Israel. The parties have agreed that Jerusalem is a matter for final status negotiations. It should remain an undivided city accessible to people of all faiths. 2012, Jerusalem doesn't exist. Okay. Aside from that, is it completely absurd to anybody but me that any political party of the United States or any other country should be deciding what is the legitimate capital of a sovereign nation? If I were Israeli, I would be incredibly offended that The capital of my country is being determined in Washington, D.C. Should we have the political parties of Israel deciding whether or not Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States?
What nationality, religion are you by chance?
I was born in Canada, and I am Jewish.
You're Jewish.
Yes.
I happen to be a Christian, and find this extremely offensive that the Democratic Party has made this fundamental policy shift. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, as you have 62 days or so to make a decision as to which direction Western civilization goes, and how we treat our outpost 7,000 miles away with 7 million people there in the middle of 330 million enemies, how we treat that outpost, which is the bulwark to the protection of the United States, just from a national security perspective. It's offensive to me to see this policy shift in the Democratic Party, and sooner or later my Jewish leftist liberal brothers and sisters, you got to scratch your head and say, when is enough enough? At what point do you say, you know what, this guy is so bad for Israel that I gotta be a Zionist. I have to be a Jew before I gotta be a Democrat. Oh wait, ladies, you have to have abortion. You're 90 years old, you have to have abortion, right? And your country, Israel, where you have blood flowing through your veins as a Jew, that takes second place to you at 85 years old worrying about abortion.
Okay,
How
well,
stupid is that?
I tell you what. Here's what I tell my Jewish brothers and sisters and friends and family and everybody else, okay? If that's what you're worried about, abortion rights, recycling, saving the planet, healthcare issues, whatever it is, if that's what you're worried about, that's fine. Those are matters for your legislatures.
So,
okay?
all right.
But the White House, the president, is the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military and the leader of the free world. And this man in this White House is no friend of Israel, is no friend of the Jewish people, and you need to change him from being the person on top. So if you're concerned about voting, split your ticket. Get this guy out of there. He's dangerous. He's no good
Tell
for
them
this.
right in that camera. That's
He's
where
no
you
good
are.
for this country. He's no good for Israel. He's no good for the free world. He is not somebody who the free world can look up and trust. We are not a trusted ally amongst our free partners around the world anymore. And he's got to go. And somebody responsible and intelligent has to take his place. If you're worried about these other issues, take it to the legislatures. Vote however you want to in your state races, in your congressional races as a starting point, because once you change the top, you're going to change everything else after. But let's start with the top. Let's get rid of this guy right now. He's bad for us. The rest of it we'll worry about later.
Coming from our Jewish friend here in our studio. Now let's go.
Who was a Democrat
Yes, you were.
for almost my entire life.
But the Pacific Northwest Democrat, or one of those kinds of
all right. I made
cheese
the
and
change.
crackers or whatever.
It can be done. Let's talk about it over the Jewish high holidays. It's got to be done.
Well, you know what? We're going to take Roger here. We got Roger on the line. We're not taking a whole lot of calls today, but if you can figure out how to get in, folks, without me giving you the number, we'll probably take you. Roger, you have a word or two to say?
Well, I just wanted to agree with the dialogue that's going on right now. Okay, a very wise man has stated that Obama is a weak horse when strengthening America and a strong horse when weakening. I beg your pardon, I messed that up. He's a strong horse when weakening America and a weak horse when strengthening America. And he's not going to stand by Israel any better than what we think he's going to. But I don't think he's going to oppose them either. He's just going to be very weak in his support of Israel. Okay, he's not going to openly defy them.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, that's what we're gonna talk about. That. Thank you for that comment, Roger. We have a bunch of material to get through, and
I understand. Thanks for taking my call. Okay, and I'm really glad to be watching you and hearing you on radio and on TV. Okay,
Thank you.
Talk Vision, Trento Vision, Talk Vision.
Talk.
We talk and you can see. But the concept that Roger laid out, strong horse, weak horse, it's an Arab Islamic construct that the Arab mind respects strength, strong horses. When they see a weak horse, they attack it. And this president in 3 years has weakened the United States immensely, which is why everybody's playing games with him.
How did he start off his presidency? With a worldwide apology tour,
We're
apologizing for the United States of America everywhere he went, bowing to foreign kings.
That's another show. Let's hold that for another show. Right now, we're going to, for people just tuning in, our subject matter today, the title of the show is President Obama Evicts God and Jerusalem from the Democratic National Party's platform. And we laid out some interesting video where you saw the complexity and confusion in some of the leading news people and politicians. Now we're going to show you another one as we segue from pulling God out of the platform to pulling Jerusalem out of the platform. And this is Senator Chuck Schumer out of New York when he's asked by a CBS News reporter, "What the heck is going on, Chuck? What are you people doing?" Take a look at this.
Okay, boys. In the Democratic conventions and Republican conventions, you have party platforms. For the first time, you have removed that Jerusalem should be Israel's capital. Mitt Romney calls that shameful. Why do that?
Well, look, everyone knows the vast, overwhelming majority of Democrats have always been for Jerusalem being the unified capital of Israel. I'm one of the leading Democrats on Middle East policy. That's been my position for a long time. So this is a tempest in a teapot. The overwhelming Democratic position is just that.
What's the party platform, though?
Well, what's the president?
It's not in the party platform. I don't know why it's in or not.
I don't know why it's not there.
The president has been for a very strong Israel.
It's the big headline all over the country.
I don't know what his position is. Don't you? No, I don't. You don't know. You've never asked him to support.
I've always assumed that the Democratic position is that. And how important is this issue to you? Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. It's been a position I've had for 20 years.
Only 20 years.
The president to comment.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
How about that? 20 whole years he's had this position. How long has the state of Israel been in existence?
Well, how long has he been running for office? That's a better time.
Yeah.
The Chuck Schumer right there, I think, he is a very intelligent guy.
He is.
He's a major senator for many years, an operative, all of that. He can't figure out what's going on. He's never asked the president. He is one of the leading Jewish politicians in the United States of America, and he's never secured a specific, direct answer from the president. How could you people in New York vote for Schumer?
I tell you what, when it comes to the subject of the state of Israel and when it comes to the subject of God, for the Democratic Party, the policy is don't ask, don't tell.
That's good.
Okay?
Yeah,
don't ask, don't tell about God, and don't ask, don't tell about Israel, and let's just pretend all that isn't there.
You know, that's very interesting because I come out of a blue-collar Democratic family from Newark, New Jersey, and you and friends and family, some family members, I just can't talk to them anymore because I can talk forever. You know, I can sit down and reason with them and work through things, but you could go about 30 seconds and then there's a switch that goes off in their head.
You can see it in the faces.
You can see it in their faces. They get defensive, they get angry, and all of that. So when you think that through, you know, why don't ask, don't tell on some of these sensitive issues? I've come to see in my life, analyzing political issues and people, that Democrats think with their self-interest, their heart, more than principle. And this, in fact, I'll do a show on this. Go ahead.
No, I'd just like to add to that. You know, my wife's a Democrat, and she's one of the John F. Kennedy type of Democrats who's voted Democrat entirely from the Northeast, very, very well in tune to what's going on with all this. And she says, how can you be a Democrat? He says they've all gone so far left, so far to the socialist left.
And she's still a Democrat.
And she's still a Democrat. She says they have left me. I have not changed. This Democratic Party has left me.
Yeah, if you're a thinking...
I understand. I mean, I was there.
If you're a thinking Democrat, then you have an existential dilemma, because you're hopefully a principled person. When I say principled, I mean there's a set of unchanging beliefs that guide your life, not some whatever works for this second, that's what I'll believe. If God isn't working,
whatever makes me feel good now is what I'm for.
Yeah, and we really need to start appealing to the veterans also. The Democratic veterans. In the state of Florida, there's 1.6 million veterans. 700,000 voted for President Obama. And if you have sworn, taken that oath to protect the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and you're intending on casting a vote for someone who has just thrown Israel completely under the bus. What the Jerusalem issue? Read that again. How the Democratic Party used to view Jerusalem, and now is
used to view, which was bad enough as it was, because it was to be determined in some sort of peace treaty agreement with the Palestinians, who have sworn to destroy them. But that being said, the language was Jerusalem is and will remain the capital of Israel. I mean, I could continue from there, but that
used to be in there.
That used to be the position of the Democratic Party, and now it is gone.
Where'd it go?
It went down the rabbit hole to an alternate universe where the furniture is the wrong size. Okay? It's gone. It's gone, baby, gone. Okay?
But the Democratic Party is solidly. But
let me tell you why.
The Democrat Party. I need. We have a friend, ladies and gentlemen, and she's probably watching.
She's going to hit us.
I know. Whenever I say Democratic Party, she goes, "It is not Democratic Party. It's Democrat."
Yeah.
All right, so my bad. The Democrat.
We're going to put a jar up there, $1 jar. Everybody who says that.
Every time you say Democratic,
Every time you say Democratic as opposed to Democrat,
you
put $1 in the jar. I think we'll do that. What was I talking about?
You're talking about Jerusalem.
Here's what it was. Yeah, when we have a critical situation like we do right now with a 12er, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who's a believer in the Mahdi, the Islamic Shia Messiah. Oh, Larry Belly. Oh, yeah. I'll take him. When you have somebody like that, who his catastrophic or apocalyptic worldview includes the complete destruction of Israel, and when you have the president of the only superpower in the world evicting Jerusalem. How do you think this is playing in Tehran right now?
Well, I think they're jumping for joy
in Riyadh.
All around the world. Wherever they hate Israel and wherever they hate Jews, they're rejoicing everywhere.
The Muslim world is partying like crazy. It's not just
the Muslim world. It's the anti-Semites and anti-Zionists all over the world. They're rejoicing from this.
This is
amazing. The reason why is, why did they take Jerusalem out? Because this president and this administration thinks that Jerusalem is the source of everything that is wrong in the Middle East and the world. And it's not genocidal, homicidal maniacs in Iran who want to nuke Israel and all Jews off the planet, and the United States as well. And it's not the Muslim Brotherhood, and it's not Palestinian terrorists. The main source that is disrupting peace and prosperity in the Middle East is
49 square miles
of dirt. The people of
Yep.
Israel who have the nerve to actually build apartments in Jewish neighborhoods of Jerusalem.
Yep.
And if they would just stop building apartments in the capital of their own country, then everything would be safe for the rest of the world.
We're going to go to,
and that's what this president believes, and that's why we got to get rid of him.
We're going to go to a quick call here from Larry. Larry, you there? I got a few seconds for you, but I wanted to get you in.
Yes, sir. I'm here. I just noted your comment about there being over 1 million veterans in the state of Florida, and there's 700,000 of them voted for Obama. And that to me is incredible. It tells me one thing, that veterans aren't that curious about what's happening in politics. and two, that those people who voted against Obama in 2008 are not doing enough to convince their counterparts of the error of their ways. And I just wanted to put in a plug for a group called Special Operations Speaks, website specialoperationspeaks.com, and we have a program by which any individual can walk out of his front door and be part of the political process by putting on his or her own political display. But go to specialoperationspeaks.com and then click on Operation Street Corner. It's absolutely amazing what effect this had in 2004. Okay. So, and I just wanted to point out that I totally agree with you and your guest about what's happening with respect to Jerusalem and the deletion of God from the Democratic platform. It's absolutely unconscionable, and I get so fired up when some of my fellow Christians refuse to say anything bad about President Obama because he is the president. We have to respect him.
Well, Larry, thank you very, very much. We will be in touch with you because we're going to do several shows on the veterans. The actual numbers are 1.6 million veterans in Florida, largest per capita in these swing states. 700,000 of them voted for President Obama, and that needs to change. And look, let me make a point here, Tom Trento speaking for me. I respect the office of the president, okay? I mean, you can look at history, and there's been bad kings, bad presidents, all that. We have a bad president right now. I don't have a whole lot of respect for an individual that has changed and is destroying this country the way he is with his anti-colonialist views, his socialist Marxist views, his decrease of the military, of the economy. How, I mean, you know, I respect the office of the president. That's why I'm dedicating my life to defeating the occupant, to get somebody in there who will not take the country as a weak horse down the drain. So, but we got a couple of more clips we got to show people here, and we're going to conclude our show today on President Obama evicting God and Jerusalem from the platform by showing one of his leading spokespersons, someone near and dear to all of us down here in South Florida, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, showing a little brouhaha she got into with the ambassador to the United States from Israel, Michael Oren, a very distinguished, very unique individual. Very quickly, CJ.
Okay, yeah, I just have one thing to say about the veterans who voted for Obama. If they're Democrats, it's because they haven't realized yet that the party of the Democrat has changed. This is not the party of Truman. This is not the party that won World War II. It's gone. It has changed into something else.
Absolutely.
You need to pay attention. Once again, you need to fight for your country one last time. You got to make your last stand.
Amen. Amen. And if you make your stand standing next to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, right, you're going down, man. You're going down. Debbie Wasserman Schultz apparently made a statement in public that all of the Republicans, myself and Mitt Romney and all these others that are speaking against the president regarding Israel and his handling of Israel, are actually, she heard from Michael Oren, the U.S. ambassador to the United States from Israel. She heard from him that he said the Republicans are hurting Israel by disagreeing with the president. And whether or not that was true, what she said, you're going to find out. Watch this little clip, and then we'll show you one after that. Show you.
Sure, everyone in America can get quality, affordable health care a reality.
Stay with us. Ambassador to the United States today called out the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee and categorically denied that he ever said Republican policies were bad for Israel. The back and forth began yesterday when the chairwoman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the congresswoman from Florida, criticized the Republican attacks on the president over Israel. She told a group of people at the DNC, quote, "We know, and I've heard no less than Ambassador Michael Oren say this, that what the Republicans are doing is dangerous for Israel." Earlier today, Ambassador Oren issued a statement denying that he'd ever called Republican policies harmful for Israel. "We're going to kill this last break." And that his nation has friends in both the United States political parties. As I mentioned, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is with us. He says he didn't say that.
And I didn't say he said that. And unfortunately, that comment was reported by a conservative newspaper. Not surprising that they would deliberately misquote me. What I always say is that unfortunately the Republicans have made Israel a political football, which is dangerous for Israel. And Ambassador Warren has said that we can't ever suggest that there is any daylight between the two parties on Israel, because there isn't, and that that's harmful to Israel. That's what I said, and that is accurate. And we should not, we have to make sure that in America, we don't have people who put their love of party in front of their love of Israel. And as the first Jewish woman to represent Florida in Congress, Shepard, I take my love of Israel to work with me every single day. And I want to make sure that we re-elect President Obama.
Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, I'm out of time. The videos.
Committee to write the platform.
I said what I didn't say. What I maybe said.
I don't think she said it, Tom. I don't think she said it. You know, she's told the truth so much in the past, and I just don't think she said it. You're just a hater, Tom.
She's a woman of dignity and honor, and when I was at Alan West's a couple of years ago, campaign headquarters, one day, just kind of helping out, and Debbie Wasserman-Schultz and her whole crew come outside and start picketing Alan's campaign headquarters because they want women's rights. It was a whole women's rights. They had a bunch of women there from NARAL and Now and Code Pink, and this is Debbie Wasserman-Schultz in South Florida. But you just made a very good observation. What was your observation, CJ?
She is the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee. She is the person who is supposed to put together the platform that speaks for the party, that is represented by the leader of the party, who is the President of the United States.
We see a smoking gun here. So,
okay, so she's representing herself as a Jewish woman supporter of Israel, and she's in charge to make sure that her party's platform includes the proper language to reflect those views, and on her watch, we should call it Wasserman-Schultz, it's gone. Israel is gone.
I have an idea.
Hamas is out of the platform. God is out of the platform.
I have an idea. Hang on. What's that? We're getting a little...
We're getting a little static?
Yeah, a little static here.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Because Debbie Wasserman, let's ask America. Because Debbie Wasserman-Schultz is so close to us, her district, we're in Allen West's district. We're in South Boca Raton, Florida right now.
My family is in her district. Yeah.
If you need a vacation, come down to Boca Raton. And Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, why all those names, you know? In any event, she's a little bit south of here. She's within walking distance, certainly driving distance. Maybe we'll take our Trento Vision investigative crew over to her office and try to get a little soundbite from her or some of her people in the near future. I think we will do that. But here's the gist of this. She was accused of making a statement that included words from U.S. Israel ambassador to the U.S., Michael Oren. She said Michael Oren said this, and now Shepard there, what's his first name? Shepard?
Shepard Smith.
Shepard Smith, right.
Shepard is his first name.
Shepard Smith.
Yeah.
Looking a little frail these days, Shepard is. But
he's working hard.
Yeah, for $7-8 million a year, just
right.
a little less
At
than what we're
least
making
he's working
here.
for it. He's not in the government just getting a check for doing nothing.
A little less than what we make here, but that's okay. That's another issue. Shep said to her, "Well, did you say this?" And I did not say that. I said I didn't say it. I maybe said I didn't say it. You know, okay. But Mark, you don't think she said that?
Thank God for video cameras. That's all I say.
Well, this is actually an audio clip.
Oh, audio cam.
Yeah. We have an audio clip. Now, we want you to listen, and you determine whether or not she said that Michael Oren actually made these statements about Republicans harming Israel by their aggressive anti-Obama efforts. Listen to Debbie Wasserman.
We want you to be armed with the facts. So we're going to give you those facts. We have one-page document that succinctly describes President Obama's stellar record on Israel. We have a 6-page document as well because we're Jews and one page really isn't enough. And we have a myths versus facts document which addresses a lot of the typical baloney that is spewed by Republicans. And let me just close by telling you this and sharing this with you. We know, and I've heard no less than Ambassador Michael Oren say this, that what the Republicans are doing is dangerous for Israel. They're undermining Israel's security by suggesting
that the United States and Israel don't have anything other than a unique and close and special relationship. It undermines Israel's security to its neighbors in the Arab world and to its enemies. And we need to make sure that the fact that there has never been and will never be daylight between the two parties, or the support for Israel that we have in the United States, that is conveyed to Jewish Americans across this country. That's our responsibility. It's the responsibility we're asking all of you to take on.
I like how also she says that
a little closer, get a little closer.
This is an issue for Jewish Americans. Well, you know what? There are tens of millions of Christian Zionists in this country who care about Israel a lot more than a lot of people in the Jewish community, and they are ignored.
Dang video cameras! I tell you, those pesky little audio video recorder things are just not friends of the Democrats.
Let's take a vote. Let me take a vote. Everybody, hang on. Did she lie or not? All in favor of thinking she lied, say A. Okay.
Aye. This woman is the chairperson of the Democratic National Committee. She lied about what an ambassador from another country to our country said.
And let me make a point
that
here.
is a major diplomatic international scandal. This woman needs to quit her job.
Yeah, well,
she should be fired from her position
with
for lying about what an ambassador says.
Here's the problem with that, because this is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 10th time something like this has happened. What is that? A train? A train is coming by our studio. Joe, what's going on? We okay? Yeah, I guess we are.
We're rocking.
We're rocking. It's like an earthquake in here.
This is our third day.
The earth is moving.
Whoa! Is that an earthquake?
Yeah. Have you ever been through an earthquake?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, in Indianapolis. I was in an earthquake in Indianapolis, of all places. But listen, all right, let's get back to reality here. Right now, a train is going by our studio.
Well, because for the train wreck that we're talking about.
The Democratic Party train wreck is going down to the Keys. This is our third day, our third show, and our first train. But now we know it's coming every Wednesday at this time. Here's the serious element of this last clip. And the reason why we put these three together, the extrication or eviction of God from the Democratic platform, the eviction of Jerusalem from the Democratic platform, those two show a postmodern cultural shift in a secular way that now views Israel as a nuisance, as a pest. Well, it so happens that the Democratic National Party committeeman woman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is the head of the party. She's got to shore this thing up for Jews somehow, particularly the dumb Jews that write big checks to President Obama. How could you do this? Why are you doing that? I don't know. Another show. But she now starts blaming or attributing to Michael Oren, a very distinguished ambassador to the U.S. from Israel, the fact that he said, we people challenging the president are causing trouble for Israel. He comes out and says in a statement, I never said that. You're right. She contradicted. She lied about a sitting ambassador in her position as the leader of the Democratic Party in the United States of America.
Exactly.
Get the hook. She's out of here.
And here's the other point to that, too. She knows she's seen the videotape of this, of her saying what she said. Then she compounds it by going on and said, no, I never said that at all. Not to say, well, I might have misheard him say that. I want to stand corrected that he did not say that. I do agree, but no, did she say it? And that was it. All
right, I got to wrap this up. It's been a great show. We want the point we want to leave. 2 points, folks. Number one, with this eviction of God by President Obama from the Democratic Party shows a unique secular shift. This president. Many think he's a Muslim. He claims he's a Christian. He's a secularist.
He's a communist.
He's a secularist. We'll develop that, but he's a secularist in his philosophy, and secularism has no room for God. So to slowly evict God from the public square, from the marketplace, allows a vacuum to be created that he wants to fill with government. And if you notice, some of the Democrats at the Democrat convention, I'm not saying Democratic convention,
did that very well.
are saying everyone's owned by someone. Why not be owned by a government as benign and benevolent as led by President Obama? Number one. That's bad stuff, okay? Number two, the eviction of Jerusalem from the Democrat, I'm going to have to learn this, Democrat platform, the eviction of Jerusalem is a move to isolate Israel so that the Islamic world can move forward in its Arab Spring. And more about this tomorrow as Trento Vision and our team here bring you insights into what's happening around the globe and here in Florida. Thank you very much. See you guys.